Welcome to another episode of the BJJ Fightgear Lockdown Talks. My name is Misha and I'm here with my co-host Jan van Haperen, also known as
The Human Forklift.
in the house. Thank you for tuning in. If you like these episodes, if you like our show, make sure you subscribe to the channel, The Gi Experts, to see more of it. And if you have a comment, please leave it down below. Let us know what you think of the show, the interviews, or let us know if there's somebody specific that you would like to see interviewed. Now, many people are dreaming about becoming a full-time competitor or opening their own jiu-jitsu academy, gym, because there's little money to be earned as a jiu-jitsu competitor. And there's also no government support in many countries. It can be pretty hard to balance training, work, study, competition. Today we talk about this with Daniel de Groot. Daniel is a European and Brazilian IBJJF no-gi champion and has spent a lot of time training in Brazil with his team, the House Fight Company. Daniel, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Well, our show, The Lockdown Talks, we talk about the lockdown, your life during the COVID-19 lockdown, but also, of course, other things that keep you busy and that you are known about. To start off with, how's your life right now and how is it different from, let's say, the normal life?
So it slowed down a lot because usually I spend like 5-6 hours a day on the mats teaching classes, training myself, private classes. And now, of course, I can't. So I do have a lot of extra free time on my hands. But normally I fall into like a gap. I don't know what to do. But since the lockdown started, I've been pretty busy. I've been working on my strength training, doing a lot of kettlebell. I've been working on my skill set. So I did a digital course from Google. I'm working on my Adobe Illustrator things. I'm making a lot of videos. So I do have a lot of extra time now on my hands. But I can't wait to go back to normal so I can do some real training.
Yeah. Because what would a normal day look like for you, like outside of the lockdown?
So usually I train from 10 to 12 in the morning, and then I usually have a private before and or after that training. So 2 hours of jiu-jitsu and then 1 or 2 privates. Then I go home, have lunch. If I have some energy left, I'll try to make some videos, try to make some content, write some blogs. And then in the evening, I'm either training myself or teaching privates. Depends a little bit on the day.
The way you say it, it's probably a lot of work altogether, but the way you say it sounds pretty relaxing. Is it like that? Do you feel, hey, the jiu-jitsu lifestyle is really, it's relaxed and?
Yes and no, because it's like I don't have to work like a 9-to-5 job, which is 8 hours or 9 hours of work. I just have to work like 5 to 6 hours per day. But the work that I do is very intensive. So intense. So like after training and teaching 2 privates, I'm totally done for. So then I just need to sit down, watch some stupid cooking shows or something. I'm not very productive afterwards. So I do what I love, and I don't have to work for a boss. I don't have to spend like hours and hours in the office. But it is it's heavy for the mind and for the body as well.
Yeah. And I can see that. Well, you are basically living the life that a lot of people, I guess, that are training jiu-jitsu are kind of looking at. Like, I would really like to do that. Just, it probably seems like all you can do is do jiu-jitsu all day and have fun and training. But of course, you have to do certain things to facilitate that kind of lifestyle and to be able to do that. And you were able to do that quite successfully. But you also did it while not being some kind of world champion black belt or something, or coming from a very famous team. You were relatively lower belt still when you really started out on this journey in the Netherlands with not necessarily a big competition team or anything behind you. How did you work your way to doing jiu-jitsu full time?
So it's like gradually, like I started out just as a hobby, and then when I was studying, I didn't even like train too much, like maybe 2 or 3 times. And slowly, as I got a little bit more into it, I got a little bit better. I started training more. I started training every day. Then I got into contact with my coaches. I went to Brazil, and they showed me like how to really live off jiu-jitsu, how to be a full-time competitor, because my coaches, they are a very high level black belts Thiago has won Nogi Worlds at black belt. Palito is constantly on the podium at Pans Worlds. So like I see how they live, and I think both consciously and unconsciously I'm like emulating them. So I try to live their lifestyle, and then when it slowly started to become more and more. And since maybe 2 years, it's my main source of income. So I quit all my side jobs, and I decided to focus on jiu-jitsu. And like there was a moment, I remember I was talking to Thiago, my coach in Brazil, and he was explaining something to me like, yeah, if you run a gym, you have to do this, especially if you want to live off jiu-jitsu like you do. Like, hey, he's right. I actually want to live off jiu-jitsu. So that was like I was living like the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, but it didn't really enter my mind yet that I could do this for a living. But that's when it really like clicked, and I saw like, okay, I can do this for a living. I can make it work.
Yeah.
If I work hard.
Cool. And what if, of course, living off jiu-jitsu, that's probably pretty clear. Depends, of course, on how much money you need to get by. But if you talk about doing jiu-jitsu full time, what's your definition of that? Because I've heard people that say, I train full time, and that just means they don't do anything else besides their training, which is maybe an hour a day.
Yeah, for me, it really is a full-time job. So like even now, I'm spending like lots of hours on jiu-jitsu. So either making videos, writing content about jiu-jitsu, studying jiu-jitsu instructionals, studying matches. So it's that. And but I have to be honest, like I don't need a lot of money. Like here, since I started traveling to Brazil so much, I moved back to my parents' place because I didn't want to like under rent my place every time. When I'm in Brazil, I can stay for free because I help teach the classes, and I don't have a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
But I do make I could make a nice living of it, but I'm saving up for my own gym, so I don't like I try to spend as little as possible. But
Nice.
right now, without the epidemic, I would be able to make like a decent income with jiu-jitsu.
And what you talked a little bit about this, but I don't know if you want to share that. But what's your main source of income? Is it privates or?
I think it's private. Like it's depends a bit on the month, but usually it's like a part teaching classes, and part like a big part is private classes as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I do like extra things like courses for high schools. I did a course for the Hogeschool Rotterdam about conflict management. Now I'm teaching a big group of kids in Leiden, so I do have some extra things as well. But usually private and normal classes are my main source of income.
Right. Cool. And you basically established yourself a little bit in the past years also as a sort of a Brazil expert, I would say, especially in this part of the world, of Europe, as being one of the few people that maybe just spend time training in Brazil, period, but especially spending so much time there for longer periods also. You have a successful YouTube channel that you work on, and you do a lot of content about training in Brazil. Could you maybe take us through a little bit how that got started, how you went there, and how it was for you the first time, and how it is to live there for people coming from here?
So I was still doing my bachelor's, I think, and like all my friends were doing like gap years or like long trips to Southeast Asia, Australia, like working and traveling. I was like, yeah, I wanna travel a little bit too, see something of the world. And then it entered my mind that I should maybe go to Brazil because that's where my sport came from, and I thought it would be cool. So I booked that when I was like almost finishing my bachelor. I went to Brazil. I just like basic things. I thought, oh, Rio should have the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm already training at Checkmate here, so I'll just train at Checkmate there.
Yeah.
And in Rio, it was pretty easy to fit in as a gringo because there were a lot of other foreign people there. And Rico Vieira, the coach there, he always teaches the technique in Portuguese and English, so it was quite easy to follow. But when I told some people that I was going to Brazil, one of my coaches from back then, Manchinha from London, he said, no, you shouldn't go to Rio. You should go to Santos instead, because there the training is really good. Thiago's there, Gabriel's there, and you're gonna like that. But I was having fun in Rio, and then I decided, I'll have a try. I'll just go there. So I took a bus, like 10 hours or something, to go to Santos. And when I got there, like I felt at home immediately, because the coaches, they were like really helpful. They paid attention. Like they were always watching me roll and like, no, you should do this and this. Maybe you should try this and this. But they also didn't speak English with me, so they just threw me in the deep. Like, you're in Brazil now, you're gonna have to learn Portuguese, which I'm very grateful about, because now I speak Portuguese.
And how well is it right now? Are you able to order food, or are you like you can talk about politics and space exploration, or?
Space exploration not yet, but I don't even talk about that in English or Dutch. No, but like it evolved gradually. So the first time I could kind of follow a class. Second time I could follow a class and have like basic conversations. Third time I could have like normal conversations. Fourth time I could start joking around a little bit. I got a little bit of the sense of humor, and now I can teach like full classes in Portuguese. I can discuss politics. Now it's at a pretty decent level. I still have an accent, of course, but
Yeah.
I can communicate with most people.
Yeah, and you mentioned humor. How would you describe the Brazilian sense of humor?
I don't know about Brazilians as a whole, but like my that's also my Portuguese is like I learned it in the gym with a lot of tough macho guys. So when I started dating Brazilian girls, I had to like unlearn a lot of curse words, and I had to learn like different ways to say things. It's like, no, you can't say that. Not with my parents. I'm like, oh shit, sorry.
But is it? Did you feel that was one of the most difficult things early on to like really fit in with the group, like sense of humor, language?
Yeah. Well, the first time I came in with the mind to travel and to train a bit, but I liked it so much that I just decided to train every day. And like in the last week, I did all like the touristy stuff, but before that, I was just training every day and too tired to do anything else. And then every time I came back, I became a closer part of the team. So the first time I was just like a client, a paying client. Second time I was already more part of the team. I went to the competitions with the guys, and since then I've started teaching there, helping out with the classes. And it's like slowly I became a part of the team, and now like everybody there knows me. All the parents know me, all the kids know me, and like I'm really part of the family.
Yeah, and is it difficult not to get distracted? I guess if you live in Rio, there's so much things to do there, especially if you're not from that part of the world, and there's still a lot to explore, nightlife, but also tourism and nice foods that you haven't tasted before. Is it difficult to keep your focus on training?
Not for me. I'm very addicted to training, so I'm very routine focused. So if I have a training routine, I like there has to happen something really bad for me to not train. I have to be like injured really badly. And if you train so much, you don't even feel like going out or partying too much, because your body and your mind, they just can't handle it. So for me, it's always quite easy to stay focused.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, when you were there for a while, you started also competing in Brazil, as you just mentioned. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is it different than competing here in Europe?
Yeah, it's super cool. It's way more an event like here in the Netherlands. People go to a competition to see maybe their son or their nephew fight, and then they go back home. But in Brazil, like people are watching the fights, like all of the fights. So if you do well in competition, people are seeing it. So I was in like my first trip at the end of the trip, I won my first competition in Santos, and like I was walking back to my coaches, and like people from the audience were like complimenting me for the fight. Like, hey man, Gringo, nice job, man. Good job, Gringo. Great
Nice.
fight. So it's like people are there more for the jiu-jitsu, not just for the one person they came to see.
Yeah. And why do you
So it's
think
a
that
little bit
is?
more intense. I think jiu-jitsu is a bigger thing there, so more people know about it, and they're more into it than they are here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so it's more like people go and watch a football match or something. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
cool. And is of course everybody has their own way of training and competing, but do you feel the spirit is different at competition? Do people go harder at it, or is it different from here?
Mm, the level is a bit higher because in Brazil, just more people train jiu-jitsu. I'm an old guy with a family and full-time job. But if you go to the big ones. There's always going to be like the top dogs that are winning worlds, that are winning the big tournaments. So yeah, it's not here as in the Netherlands where I have to like fight 2-3 divisions up sometimes to find an opponent, and then they are not like full-time competitors. In Brazil, there's always people in your division, whatever your level.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you after a while you really started winning some major competitions over there, and then you kind of you stayed on a roll when you got back here in Europe as well. So you became European no-gi champion. How was that for you? When looking back, how did that kind of evolve? Did you feel when you got back from Brazil like you really made a quantum leap when you got back here in Europe?
Just there's no, like my coach always says, there's no secrets. It's just showing up to training every time, and sometimes you have a good competition, sometimes you have a bad one. And Brazilian Championships, I had a really good competition. I was really on a roll. I was had a really good mindset. The people I fought a really good guy who is I think a blue belt. He won worlds as a roosterweight, Mauricio. But his game is like a very good fit for my game. I fought him in the final. So like all the factors matched together. And then of course, as a European guy, my big goal was winning European, so I trained really hard for that, and I managed to win that as well. But there wasn't like one thing that clicked or something. It's just constantly training really hard every day, and having the right people by my side. So good training partners, great coaches, that really helps.
Makes sense. Awesome. You are now a bit more kind of shooting roots here in the Netherlands, settling down. Of course, I imagine you're still going to go back to Brazil to train, but you have big plans now for opening your own academy, which we've been working with you for a while. We're very excited for you as well. Could you tell us a bit about opening your own academy, how you look forward to that, and what are your goals mainly here in the Netherlands?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm using this time as well with the pandemic to prepare myself for this. So I already spoke to you, of course, and I'm speaking to a lot of people with good running gyms in the Netherlands, people that I admire, and I've been getting great advice. So try to prepare as well as I can. And I want to open up a big gym here, like really focus on jiu-jitsu, not be another MMA gym that's also teaching jiu-jitsu. I really want to like use jiu-jitsu in the broader sense. Make jiu-jitsu grow in the Netherlands, create tough competitors, and like really use every part of jiu-jitsu to create a beautiful gym. And
cool.
That's what I was working towards. I was saving up a lot this year, so not spending, not traveling too much, just trying to save up for the gym. And I was planning on opening my gym next year, but then this virus came, and it's all a little bit slower now. But still I want to try to open up my gym next year.
Yeah. Do you have a name yet? Is it gonna be De Groot BJJ?
I do have a name, but I'm gonna keep that secret for a bit more. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to hear that. What do you think your gym is gonna? What does it add to the existing jiu-jitsu landscape here in the Netherlands or in the nearby countries?
Yeah, so what I said, like here, jiu-jitsu is still very much coupled to MMA. Like people want to train MMA and then they just settle with jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw in the USA and in Brazil as well is that jiu-jitsu is more of a separate sport, and I want to really like sell jiu-jitsu as a sport on its own. So take away that like cage fighting idea of it, and like really use it to help kids, help women as well, like help people that would otherwise not enter a martial arts gym to share the benefits of jiu-jitsu. So I really want to bring it to as much people as I know, because it helped me a lot with a lot of aspects of my life, and I think more people should enjoy that. And of course I want to make some badass competitors and start winning a lot of shit.
Yeah. Gonna be a killer team over there.
Yeah.
Well, my co-host, the human forklift, Jan, he has some
Thanks
particular
for not telling
questions.
my nickname, by the way.
Yeah. But Jan, he has a very interesting topic also to talk about with you. And well, let me pass the word to you so you can introduce it yourself.
I want to talk about your footlocks and guillotine, and how to become good at a particular technique. So like your footlocks are really good, and how did you come about that? And how does someone get good at a particular technique in general?
Good question. So, good question. So for the both, it developed like differently. The guillotine I learned when I was injured for the first time. So I had a few weeks I couldn't train, and I started watching Marcelo Garcia's DVDs, and he was explaining the guillotine, and then I was watching it. And then when I came back to training, I was trying it out. That was the first submission I started to get better guys with. So from there, I started just keep doing it, and now I'm doing the guillotine way different than I did before. But like that was the thing that made me work on it more, because I started to have success when I was a beginner, and then I started developing the move a little bit more. With footlocks, the same, basically, a little bit different. Like I had some footlock success, like kind of a little bit, but I wasn't really good at it. And then my coach Tiago, who is really good at footlocks, he footlocks some of the best in the world, Josh Inger, Roberto Satoshi. He came to the Netherlands and he taught a footlock seminar. So that's where like everything clicked in my mind. And since then I've been like footlocking a lot of people. Like after that seminar, I like for the whole year or something, I think I footlocked at every tournament I footlocked somebody. So the footlock I really learned from him. The guillotine I developed a little bit more by myself. But yeah, same thing. Just do that fits with your body type. Like you can't do a move that your body is not made for. So if you have like really short legs, don't focus on the triangle. Try to find something that works for you, for your body type, and then just focus on it. Try to get better at it. Find a solution every time somebody gives you a problem. So let's say with a footlock, I have a problem every time somebody turns in. I have to find a solution for that. So I either roll with him or I go to his back. So every like small counter, you have to find a counter to, and that's how you get better. So you have to train really consciously and try to remember where your move went wrong. That's how you get good at any move.
Yeah, makes sense. And when you divide your training to get really good at a particular technique, do you focus mostly on like drills, specific sparring, or do you just roll all the way through all the time?
Recently, I've been doing a lot of specific sparring. So I would have like one or two people I like to train with, and then we just do specific. So usually we start from the back, and then try to finish from the back, and then you start defending the back. 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and then you go to the next position you want to work on. Usually I split it like I pick a position, you pick a position, I pick a position, you pick a position. So we can both work the things we want to work on. And then, of course, a lot of free sparring. And in the free sparring, I still try to go for like the moves I want to work on.
So you don't do that many drills, you would say?
No, only when I learned a new move. When I watched the instruction or something, or saw something in a match, I will drill it a few times before or after the training. But I think to really learn a move, it doesn't help too much if you just drill it. You need to try to apply it in a certain position. So you can do like specific sparring from a position where you can easily get to that position. But like actual like what do you call it, dead cool drilling without any resistance is not something I do a lot.
No, I agree. It's not that effective. When you start training a specific technique, do you try it out against a tough opponent right away? Or do you build it up and try it against a lower belt and start perfecting it and work your way up?
Yeah, so my training is really divided in the place where I am. So when I'm in Brazil, I'm basically just using my A game, surviving against the tough guys, and trying to win every roll. And here in the Netherlands, I'm a little bit more loose because I have like more lower level opponents. That's when I develop my techniques. In Brazil, to be honest, I don't learn that much new techniques. Like I don't add a lot to my game. Like of course small details, and sometimes I see a move that my coach does, and I apply that to my game. But the main thing is like learning the small details for scrambles, that kind of stuff. So like the techniques you don't put on a DVD, but like the invisible jiu-jitsu, maybe you can call it. I learned that a lot from my coaches, from rolling and like their advice. And in the Netherlands, I like develop new things, and then I how do you say that? Like I strengthen them in Brazil, so that's where I test them against a really high level. And I think that's a really good balance for me. Also with the intensity of the training here, it's a little bit calmer. In Brazil, it's a little bit heavier. So I periodize my training like automatically because of the place that I'm in.
Yeah, so in Brazil you learn how to fight jiu-jitsu, and in the Netherlands you learn actually doing like jiu-jitsu, the technique.
Yeah, I learn how to play jiu-jitsu. And it helps because like the guys in Brazil, I'm the only guy that trains every day, twice a day. Because my body gets some rest when I'm in the Netherlands. The other guys are doing the same thing the whole year, and then they like their body can't hold it up. But I get higher and lower intensity months throughout the year.
Yeah. And what would you advise a beginning white belt that really likes a specific technique and wants to focus on that specific technique? Would you like advise them to focus on drills or specific training more? Obviously, like you like specific training more, but maybe for a beginning white belt, it's a bit different.
For a beginning white belt, like it's tempting to just focus on one technique, but I did the same. Everybody just wants to, in the beginning, you just want to win. But it's really important to really focus on the basics. It's very cliche, but as a white belt, you should learn how to defend yourself, learn the basic positions. You really want to build a fundament for the rest of your game. So I wouldn't like spend too much time focusing on one position. Of course, if you already know a little bit of the basics, there's white belts and white belts. If you're a little bit more advanced white belts, you can really focus on that move, try to apply it in. I would prefer specific training. If you want to specialize in it, you probably already know the basics, so you don't need to drill too much. But you really want to be conscious about the counters your opponents give you and find counters for that. So more specific training. But the main thing you should focus on as a white belt is just listening to your coach. Hopefully you have a good coach that teaches you the basics and gives you like a good idea of jiu-jitsu as a whole, not just that one move you want to get good at.
Yeah. So white belts don't bother with a single technique.
Yeah, it's hard. Just focus on the jiu-jitsu as a whole. Like the better I get at jiu-jitsu, the more I know like how little I knew when I was a beginner. So you really want to like don't take any shortcuts, just focus on the basics. Like the more advanced I get, the more I see that now.
Yeah, makes sense. We got some questions from some followers on social media. The first question is from Caviti38. How do you get a sponsor?
How do you get a sponsor? I think for me it was like a good combination of circumstances because you guys were just starting the Fuji Euro brand, and I knew some people within the team. Martin just got in with the team, so like it was a little bit of a happy coincidence. But I think the main thing is showing up in competitions, actually winning competitions, and like being a nice and open person. You don't want to be like if I win a competition, like a local competition, but I'm an asshole, I don't talk to anybody, I cheat or something. Nobody wants to like be connected to me as a personal brand. But if you're a nice person, if you talk to people around the competition, if you shake hands, if you're like an open, nice person, it's easier for companies to see that, and you'll have a better likable factor, and it'd be easier to find a sponsor. So just show up to a lot of competitions, be nice, and if you start winning, people are gonna notice, and probably also the right people.
Yeah. The next question is from David for ZA, and you already talked about it a bit. He wants to know, what are the fundamentals that you believe every white belt should focus on first?
So first you should understand the position of jiu-jitsu. So you want to know what's bad, what's good. So you don't want to have anybody on your back, and you don't want to be on top, that kind of stuff. You want to learn to defend the most important positions, and you want to have a few offenses from the most important positions as well. And from there, you can start developing your own game. You can start developing half guard, open guard, that kind of stuff. But the main thing to focus on, especially in the beginning, are the big positions.
Yeah, like the defensive positions, you mean? Like don't get passed,
mount,
for
back
example.
mount, side control.
Yeah, makes sense. That's pretty good advice. Then I think it's time for some Shark Tank.
Yeah, we have a last part of the interview where we have some very brief questions. You can also give a brief, just the first thing that pops in your head up when you hear the question, a few words or yes or no. You ready for this?
Let's go. I'm
Let's
always ready
go.
for Shark Tank.
ADCC or IBJJF?
Ooh, right now ADCC.
Jokes or locks?
Jokes or locks? Jokes.
Favorite technique?
Guillotine.
Favorite competitor?
Probably still my coach, Thiago Abreu.
Nice. Favorite gi?
Fuji. I like the Super Raido for competition. Sekai for training.
Cool. Favorite pickup line?
Ooh,
Maybe
good
we can
question.
split it up between favorite pickup line in the Netherlands and favorite pickup line in Brazil. Do you think there's a big difference?
Brazil, I don't need to use too much pickup lines usually because I'm so blunt. The girls come to me. Man, it's been a while since I used the pickup line. I don't go out too much anymore. Usually, it's like a very like when I was going out a little bit more like a basic question, like what's your favorite color? What do you like to eat? Something like that, and then start a conversation from there.
Right. Pretty casual.
Yeah.
What was your toughest opponent so far?
Oh, I was talking about this today with a friend. It was Fabricio Andre. He won Europeans this year. He's extremely tough. Like he's I don't know if you saw him fight at Europeans. He passes like high level guards like it's nothing. He's very aggressive. Super good kid. He's gonna become a world champion very soon at black belt.
Brazilian girls.
Nice.
Knee reaping in the gi?
No.
Best
If
Brazilian
you
food?
fight
Sorry.
best Brazilian food. Feijoada, the black beans.
Sounds good. Have to try that. Who in your weight class would you really like to fight?
Not really a person. I would like to like fight everybody that's gonna do the ADCC trials. I don't really have a person that I really want to super fight with or something, or have a grudge against.
Yeah. Well, I know you're working on a lot of stuff online. Your book. What would you say is the best way for people to reach out or to know more about you, to read your materials? Is there a URL they can go to, or I don't know, like a specific thing they can search for?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I just repost the things I do there. De Groot BJJ, and also my website, degrootbjj.com. That's where you find info about my private classes, about training in Brazil. But mainly my Instagram and my YouTube. That's where I'm most active.
Yeah. Okay, we'll put some links down in the description of this video for people to click on. And make sure you subscribe also to Daniel's YouTube channel and visit the website. Daniel, I would really like to thank you for your time and sharing your experiences, your knowledge. And we're really looking forward to see your gym opening up. So keep us posted on that.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was fun.